Welcome back to another episode of The Adventures of the Zebulon Harding, session 35. When we last left our, man, I say a lot. When we last left our Earl and the Zebulon Harding, they had finally made their way from our origin, actually starting really originally from Glimmer of Hope, over to Dead Rock, got lost in the nebula, ended up coming over here to the where we at here? Over to the Hypergiant. Some small amounts of revelation kind of coming to light there, and then finally made our way to our original destination of Lagrange, which location I will remind you, a temperate world, somewhat toxic atmosphere with an orbital station overhead that we have crossed paths with a couple times before, never actually stopping at least in part because they appear to be at loggerheads with forces from Meridian Station, who are now really not very numerous in the station, partly because thanks to our own activities, they were drawn off. Many of those forces were drawn off to Glimmer of Hope, from which we escaped. And we now find ourselves hailing the station that lies overhead of the overhead of the planet of Lagrange. Let's just get ourselves a station here for this. Can I do that without it being too big of a thing here? Let's overrun here. Yeah, let's do that. And there we go. Now, yeah, we're gonna use this one for Lagrange, I think. Won't quite behave where I want it to go. In any case, yeah, this is kind of the vibe I'm going for here. I think this works pretty well for Lagrange. Big old. The main thing I'm going for here is size, because if I remember right, Lagrange is, or maybe I don't know how big it is. Let's look back at the star map and see if I put how big it actually is meant to be. Lagrange doesn't really say. Vital world, orbital settlement, scarred surface, unfriendly atmosphere, currently in battle. Okay, right, let's do some stuff here. So, before I get going on all this, I just want to acknowledge the space elephant in the room. As anybody who's been following this game knows, I pretty much just go with what happens during the game. I don't do a lot of prep ahead of time. I don't spend a lot of time. I think about the game, obviously, in between. And sometimes I think up, I come up with some like, oh, yeah, that's probably what's going on, kind of stuff. But as a general rule, I think up what's going on with the game and sort of figure it out as the prompts sort of direct me to do that, which works out fine. Have no complaints. That is fine. With that said, things have shaken out in such a way that it seems as though a lot of stuff is about to come to a head here at Lagrange Station, or at Lagrange. And not least of which involves a lot of questions, potentially at least somewhat getting answered. Man, just a ton of them. Like stuff with the Zebulon Harding, at least to some extent, the crew of the Zebulon Harding, what's going on to a certain extent, what some of the stuff is that's going on with Meridian Station, the crew of the Sirius Tribute that Earl was nominally a crew member for at some point in time, and who all apparently perished and managed to keep him alive where he was then. There's just a ton of stuff we are coming closer to answers for, a lot of which Earl will be asking for those answers while he's here, which means I'm going to have them, and that's fine, and it's happened before, but not to this degree, like not so many of them all at once. And I'm a little bit spooked by how much stuff we have to sort out here. So I'm approaching this with a certain amount of trepidation, which is fine. There's just a whole bunch going on here. Somebody, as he comes up there and on comms, is scrambling like, get down here so I can give you a hug, and I have no idea who that is. I'm getting very close to being able to lay Akeem and Ayako to rest and find out what happened to the rest of the crew of Sirius Tribute, presumably because I'm getting here, and I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. We're going to be using the oracles a lot. I thought about this, guys. I've laid around like thinking about like what it might be, and the best I've been able to do is just sort of actually get a pretty decent job, do a pretty decent job, I think, in my head of remembering everything that I've got to get sorted out. That's pretty much most of it. Not what the answers are, just realizing everything I need to determine. Oh, and really, what the hell is going on with Arnav, with Paladin slash Scout, and how he's so closely tied into this? What was the package that Dancer sent me for in the first place, and how is that tied into the whole thing? Just it's a whole bunch of stuff. Not all of which necessarily needs to be answered today. It's a little daunting, right? This is the problem that a lot of people worry about when they get into games like this. I think when they come from, say, some more traditional game, and they've plotted out kind of what the storyline is before the game starts, so they know kind of what's supposed to happen, versus very much seat of your pants, just play it as it falls kind of stuff, which is how I tend to roll with things. But what I also tend to have in a lot of games is I've got players other than myself who are throwing out theories about what's going on, which give me ideas, whether or not it's the idea that they had or some other idea that bounces off of what they proposed. It just gets me started, right? And I don't have that. I have me, and I have the oracles. And when I'm sitting here stumped, going, man, I don't know what's going on. Makes things a little complicated, a little bit challenging, a little bit scary. So this is going to be an acid test. I think this is going to be one of those times where we find out it's like, okay, well, between me and the oracles, can I make this thing all kind of come together? Do I do we go? This isn't really me playing the game, but this is me acknowledging this is one of the tough things. This is maybe one of the things that put people off of this. I see on the Ironsworn forums a bunch. People are like, yeah, I've started like 14 different campaigns with this thing. I just keep trying new stuff, and I kind of cycle through a bunch of stuff, and that seems really cool. I gotta think people are, maybe some of the times that they stop and pause and leave it for a couple of months and go play something, some other Ironsworn game or Starforged game or whatever, it's because they get stuck. Don't really have that luxury right now because I don't have a lot of games that I don't have that option. I'm not allowed myself that option, but leaves me here. So let's find out a few things. Let's dig in here. So let's get over here to, we're going to get back over here to set the stage again. We got Lagrange. This particular image, try to give credit where this is due, but I believe this is actually generated by Midjourney. I got this off of, I think just the Midjourney forums, or somebody had generated this. I did not do this one, but the file name that I have it under would lead me to believe that it is a Midjourney AI generated synthographic image, photographic, synthographic, whatever. But I like the idea. This seems very big to me. It feels very big to me, like the original space station. It strikes me that this area right here would be the size. This area right here would maybe be the size of like the original space station, like that core. So this guy is big, and I think because of that, we're probably going to lean into this being a reasonably good sized settlement. But let's find out. Let's get Earl up here. Hello, Earl. How are you doing? Earl has seen some shit. Let's get in here into the oracles and just start digging around a little bit. So we're going to get into the. All right, let's just find out about a few things of the planet as we are approaching. So we're going to find that stuff out first, and just go from there. So what else do we have here to say about this thing? Observed from space. What does this say? Observed from space. High gravity. Okay, so it's a big planet. Big station, big planet. Good to know. Big, what do they call those things? Exoplanets? Like I've seen a couple of these things, different space things where it's like, it's an Earth atmosphere, but it's a big damn planet. Okay, cool. So high gravity. Interesting to know. Planet side feature, we already mentioned the scarred terrain. What does the book suggest that we roll for these how many times we roll on this kind of stuff? It's your vital word. Settlements, observed from space. Oh, let's roll 1 or 2 times. What else do we have? High gravity, and what else you got? Large moon. Large moon, high gravity. Cool. I wonder if the orbital, now we already have the cool orbital settlement. I'm not going to do a moon one, but there might be something on the moon too. Large moon, orbital settlement, heavy gravity, big planet, big moon, big space station. A lot of stuff about Lagrange is big. And of course, let's put the station right at the Lagrange point. This is a station that's not equidistant, but at the Lagrange point between the large moon and the heavy gravity of the planet. Cool. I like that. That's neat. I've always wondered why the station was called that. Now I know. All right, what else we got? Observed space, we did that. Diversity. What is the diversity of this system? And you can assume that we're scanning and picking up all this information as we're approaching, because moving in space. Space is big. This takes time. Complex system. 4 different biomes. I love that. Diverse life. I love it. So we have diverse life, complex biomes. There's at least four biomes. The biomes include chaotically juxtaposed biomes. Okay, file that one away. And magnetic disturbances. Well, it's a great big planet and a great big moon. So let's leave that for what it is. Now let's talk about settlements. So population in the outlands. It's in the hundreds. This is not high enough for me for what's been going on here. They've been fighting a protracted battle. They got a great big space station. Hundreds just seems very low to me. And I am inclined to just kind of go over the thing. For the first look, we kind of have a picture of the station, so I don't need a ton of first look stuff. But let's roll at least once on the first look for the settlement, just to get an idea of built within terrain or an asteroid. I'll give that another roll. Significant or structural damage. That I will buy, because again, they've been in conflict with Meridian for a while now. So we got significant or structural damage. Initial contact, I think we've sort of established already. We know what the settlement trouble is, I think. That's pretty straightforward. Settlement projects. History. History is interesting. Action plus theme. Okay. Coordinate stranger. Coordinate stranger. Strangers. Okay. Settlement trouble. Stolen technology or object. Stolen technology, or aside from the fact that they're at war with Meridian. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot of stuff to unpack. Okay. Let's do a little bit of cherry picking here as we start to put this stuff together here. I want to get the Lagrange page up here so I can take a few notes. Planet with high gravity, large moon, and a large space station orbital at the Lagrange point, at a Lagrange point. Hence the name. Diverse life, many biomes, chaotically juxtaposed. We'll say lower population than expected. How about that? Lower population than expected. Station has significant structural damage. Projects coordinate strangers. That's weird. I like it, but it's interesting. Coordinate strangers. Trouble, stolen technology or object. I feel like there's something certainly could be done with the missing technology or object, stolen technology or object, or something like that. Although it could be that they have the stolen technology or object. That's why Meridian's after them, because if Meridian had stolen the technology or object, why are they still here? Why are they still coming after these guys? Because they have what they came for, right? They haven't left, which would imply that would imply that things are not all hunky dory. Cool. All right, so we're coming in on this thing and getting all this information with Zeb, and Earl says, hey, listen, Zeb, if any of this jogs your memory, sparks your memory circuits, so to speak, do please call it out. Yes, Earl, and I would say the same. I would say the same to you. If anything here is something that you recall. Well, that's a good point. And right now, and actually, I think there's a small chance that seeing Lagrange up close and getting all this data and stuff might actually jog Earl's memory, or in some way, shape, or form. Like he'll remember, maybe not from the gap time, from the lost time, but some other time that he's been here. So let's see if there's a small chance that he remembers. Oracle says nope, still blank. Good to know. All right, so we're closing in on this place. We're coming in on the station to dock, and moving quickly and stealthily to do so. And so we're gonna dock up. Guns are tracking us, but nobody's actually locking, which is fine. And we're just gonna come in and dock. And are you all right, Earl? Well, it sounded like there was somebody there that was pretty ready to meet me. And I don't have the last goddamn idea who that might be. So it's, a little nerve-wracking, a little bit. Are you going to be all right on here with Kay? I mean to talk with them quickly as soon as possible and talk to them about the situation as she stands right now. See if we can resupply a little bit and see what they can do for Kay and the little ones. And find out a little bit more about our cargo our formerly human cargo down in the cargo bay. So I'll be back quickly, but is it all right if I leave you here? Yes, of course, Earl. You don't really have another option. It's not as though I can come with you. Well, I'll keep you on comms if there's any need to, if you need to let me know anything, I'll keep the comms open. Oh, all right, Earl. Absolutely. I'd be pleased. Are you going to leave them open during the conversations? Well, yeah. Let's unless they object in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I'll keep you on open comms. And with that, I will head our merry way down here. All right, so we're disembarking from this docked up thing, coming down through the airlock into sort of like the long, honestly, the airlock version of that long tunnel that you come off a plane, and you're going down this sort of expanding tunnel onto the place. Just no damn idea what's coming next or what's going to be waiting for me at the end of this thing as the door opens up. So the airlock cycles and opens up, and there's somebody there. So or probably several somebodies. So first look, let's go with the first look. And again, now I will say the online version of the oracles is fantastic, but it's also useful to take a look at in the book, because they don't just have the oracle tables in there, they also make a suggestion as to how many times you may want to roll on those tables, and that can be extremely useful just to get a sense of how much you're expected to kind of flesh somebody out. First look's meant to be a couple of rolls, so let's see what we got here. Just 1 and 2. Distracted and tattooed. And here's who we have. At the end of the gangplank waiting, who turns kind of towards Earl as I feel the need to put him up here kind of in contrast to this face, because it just seems kind of like we get a double shot of their expressions as we see each other down the gangplank. And once again, I'm going to throw a oracle roll at this thing and see if seeing her, because again, when we spotted the folks that the bodies at the wreck of the at Sirius Tribute, Earl remembered people, and when he saw his clothes, he remembered. So seeing familiar things, I'm going to say there's about a 50-50 chance that this sparks memory. Because again, he doesn't have complete amnesia. He remembers stuff from his past, some of it, or a fair amount of it. Anything up to coming up toward the time when he has complete time loss, he tends to be a little bit shaky on. And a lot of that can be shaken loose when he sees things. So we'll say there's about 50-50 chance he's got some kind of memory here. And the Oracle says yes. Cool. Does he remember, let's say, does he remember her name or her call sign? If it's yes, he remembers her actual name. If it's no, he remembers her call sign. So they see each other. We see this facial, this thing, and you see Earl say, "Fidget," and she comes, and then her face kind of lightens up, her expression kind of breaks, she smiles, and she comes running down towards him and just hits him with this big old hug. She said, "Get down here, I'm going to give you a hug." I'm going to say it's unlikely that this is a romantic thing, or that she's going to greet him in a romantic way. So, does she greet him? It's unlikely. Does she greet him with something more than a hug? She does. Okay, I was not expecting that. It was unlikely. So yeah, there's a hug and then the thing and then the kiss, and not exactly. Earl's not 100%. It's a good kiss. Totally good with the kiss. It seems a little bit abrupt. He wasn't really expecting it, so he does kind of. Okay, it was Fidge. And she kind of sorry. No, it's all right. It's more than all right. But well, there's a lot to talk about. We got someplace that you can. Man, there's just too much. Can we sit down someplace? There's just a lot to talk about. Maybe someplace a little private. Not just someplace quiet. Yeah. Sure. Let's come with me. And she kind of takes his hand, then releases it, and then takes it and kind of smiles shyly and comes along with his thing. All right. So, cut a little scene here, and then we'll see where we're at. Boy. So let's where do we set up here? Now this is probably, it's going to have to be quick and dirty conversation here, because Earl came in to what's essentially a system under siege, in an unknown ship, or possibly a known ship, which is almost more complicated. He was recognized by this person, Fidget, apparently. Interesting name. And was apparently given access, but it's probably not going to be left alone very long before people are going to want to know who the fuck he is. There's a lot to unpack there. So we probably go down the hallway, not very far, and then duck into like well, this would be an airlock thing. So like a not a supply closet, but like a sort of a side chamber that holds like suits for maintenance, like going on the outside of the station for maintenance, that kind of thing. This place is as it's been damaged, so there's probably a lot of people working. It's hard to find a place where there aren't people, and we're not going to be left alone for very long. So I feel we roll a lot of oracles. I feel like there's probably a move here. Her initial, she's still kind of suspicious of this whole thing, although she's greeted enthusiastically. Let's see if we can put her mind to rest. So we pull into the thing. She's like, what happened? Where were you? What is that? What is the ship that you just what's going on, Earl? I'm going to attempt to roll a connection. I'm just going to explain this thing. I don't really know. I woke up a few weeks back. I guess it's been damn near a month. Woke up on that ship. Nobody else was there, and the ship's memory had also, the recent parts of the ship's memory had been wiped. I've been able to piece together some parts. A lot of it I haven't. This ship ran afoul of Meridian. I've run afoul of Meridian since I came to. They seem to have it out for me. They seem to have some memory of some things that and they're definitely not happy with that ship and the former crew of the ship, who I'm still trying to find. I know just before the section of time that I don't remember that I was part of a crew with a ship called the Sirius Tribute, and I've got a couple of their crew members with me, but they didn't make it. I've been trying to find where their family or their friends, so I could lay them to rest. And with everything else going on, and there's quite a bit more to it than just that. My path led me here. Yeah, I've been past here a couple times, not really knowing it for anything special, and it just seemed like too many things were pointing this direction, not to just listen and come here. So I'm here. I remember your name, I remember parts. I don't remember why. I don't remember ever being here before. I don't think. Nothing immediate, as I saw the outside of the station. There's a lot more, but for the parts that I think it matter to you right now, that's kind of everything. And I hope it's enough that you believe me. And I'm going to roll heart. I don't have anything to roll in addition to that. She's not a connection yet, but I'm going to try to make her a connection and see if I can build that up. So I don't have any extra boost on this. Let's see if we can get that on there and see what we get. That is a strong hit. Okay, so that is a 5 against a 1 and a 3. I love that. On the strong hit, you create connection. Give them a roll and a ring. I think this is an old friend. I think that this clearly establishes her as somebody that knew me before, and that strong hit tells me that enough stuff was familiar to her that she's immediately. So I'm not going to actually set this as a particularly challenging lead, so to speak. So we're going to put in Fidget, and her real name's Alexis. Let's get into the details here a little bit. She's just troublesome because I intend to resolve this relationship pretty quick. And having done that, so she's a connection now, and I wonder, I'm going to get her role. Look at that under the oracles, figure out what her deal is. So she is a scavenger. Build a relationship. Her character goal is build a relationship. All right. Then again, the problem that they have here on the station is stolen technology or an object, and if the problem is that they have a thing and she's a scavenger, that might actually amount to something. All right, I can live with that. Scavenger. So what I'm doing here, initially here, is I'm just going to see if she can provide any additional information. So I am going to try to gather information here, searching for clues, asking questions. Can you tell me anything else about how? Does the Sirius Tribute ring any bells? Does any of this make any damn sense or mean anything to you? Why is Meridian attacking this? But can you tell me anything? Because I tell you, every time I think I get some answers, I just end up with more questions. And we're gonna try and do this. We're gonna roll plus wits, but and I realize she's a scavenger. That's not really the thing, but she's just the first person who's really known Earl and has had a pulse since we got into this thing. So I'm gonna give her a +1 from that just by virtue of her being somebody who knows Earl's history and seems to be a little bit more willing to do that. And we're gonna give a +1 on that. So rolling wits, +1. See what we got. That is a damn miss. That is a miss that I can't do anything with because I don't have enough momentum to fix the 7 and make it anything other. I've got 7 momentum right now. Okay, all right. On a miss, your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Pay the price. An unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Let's take a look at pay the price. I hope everybody else groaned when they saw that too, because your action causes collateral damage or has an unintended effect. Story complication. Enemy unexpectedly benefits from your actions. Your action causes collateral damage or has an unintended effect. The enemy unexpectedly benefits from your actions. So Fidget is just about to answer, and she just kind of like, she kind of blinks and shakes her head like she really can't believe what I'm saying. And she opens her mouth to say something, and then like this wrist comm big bracelet looks like the vortex manipulator that they have on the Doctor Who for the Captain Jack, kind of the big thing, and like big light like a like thing kind of buzzes, vibrates on her arm, and she kind of jerks and looks at it, and then the alarm for the station goes off, and then somebody on the comm says something like, "We're getting an energy signature off that new ship, Alexis. We're getting a new energy signature off of that. We're reading a wisp on that ship." And her eyes, Alexis's eyes, just go big, and she looks at me. She looks at her comms first and kind of blinks, and she looks at me and she's like, "A wisp." She looks at the comms as like, "A wisp," and she looks up at Earl and says, "Earl, what's on the ship? What did you bring here? Did you bring it here?" And that's where we're gonna stop, because I need to process this, and also my camera's acting up and lagging out on me right now, so I'm gonna stop. Otherwise it's gonna look really weird. So we're gonna pause there because Earl's batting average of any answers he gets just bring more questions seems to be holding true. But hopefully in disaster we will find more answers. But it seems that the question, "What are you carrying, Earl Baxter?" has reared its ugly head again, this time coming from a new quadrant. In this case, the face of my old friend, Fidget, which apparently her name is Alexis, and also apparently I don't get to do an advance on her relationship or having her help me out in dire circumstances, because instead of doing that successfully, I rolled a damn failure. So thanks guys. Apologize for my lagging camera. It's acting a little bit wonky here, and I'm sorry about that. But I think we've hit a new chapter here. There's going to be a bunch of stuff happening here on Lagrange. I'm glad we got an interesting setup for this. I'm very pleased with this new character that we have here in the form of Fidget, old friend of Earl's, and this interesting place. So I just want to say one more thing. While I got here, recently in the gaming industry, there's been a lot of foo-for-ah around the Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast and their OGL open gaming license and that kind of thing. And I want to give kudos to Sean Tompkins, because he responded to all of this by saying, "Hey, listen, in case you forgot, Ironsworn was released under 2 different Creative Commons licenses, one for non-commercial, one for commercial, and I, after looking at everything that's going on here, I just want to make it clear that you're welcome to make any non-commercial stuff you want to. And let me just look at the commercial stuff here and let you know that the commercial license is going to be expanded to include even more of portions of Ironsworn and Ironsworn Delve and Starforged. Go out and make cool stuff. And that is, I think, just one more example of Sean being just a class act. In the face of a flood of bullshit coming from Wizards of the Coast, Sean is turning to the people around him and providing ready-made boats with instructions about how to add cushions to the seats. But the boats themselves are ready to go. He basically provides everything. And clearly I'm not directly affected really by the OGL or anything like that. I don't play D&D. I haven't played D&D in years. I have no intention to start playing D&D or anything based on that system. I've got plenty of games that I love, and 100 more that that I want to try in the future. But right now, I'm spending a lot of time on Starforged and Ironsworn, and every time the rubber meets the road, Sean proves that my loyalty to the system and the designer and the crew that are behind this wonderful game system and the whole family of products deserve the loyalty that they've been afforded by the people in the community. Just top-notch crew. I just want to call out and say thank you again, Sean, and everybody else, Josh, and everybody else who's part of this. The folks that work on the virtual tabletop stuff. Clearly, I make a huge amount of use of that. It's a really class group of people, and I'm proud to be one small contributor to the things that the cool stories that come out of this and that people check out and look out there. Thanks once again, everybody. Love the comments, love the feedback. DMs on TikTok and on Discord and messages in YouTube and stuff like that. You're always welcome to do that. If you happen to be a podcast person, you can find Random Average. Look for the Random Average podcast, and right now the Random Average podcast is working its way through. It's about 20 some odd episodes behind what's happening here on YouTube in podcast form, and weirdly it works just fine. I've been doing this for a very long time, where I take all the YouTube stuff and I just strip the video out and put it up as in podcast form with some of the dead silences stripped out and all that kind of thing. But if you are a podcast person, do feel free to check it out. It's pretty cool. I like listening to it on podcasts. I frequently do. It just is a reminder of things that have happened in the past, so I make sure I reincorporate stuff. And if you're into that kind of thing and you want to take a trip through audio only, then by all means. And if not, you want to stick here, I cannot blame you. I will see y'all next week. Thanks all.